Another method for solving quadratic equations is to use the quadratic formula. And so the quadratic formula says that any quadratic equation written in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, again, notice that equal to 0, can be solved using the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus, there's that plus or minus to give you two solutions, b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Notice that that division by 2a comes at the very end. Where a, b, and c are real numbers, a is not 0. So how do we use the quadratic formula? Well, we find out what a, b, and c are, we plug them into this equation, and we solve from there. But again, first we have to make things equal to 0. So here's our first example, x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. In this example, a is 1, b is 6, and c is 1. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So x equals negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 1 all divided by 2 times 1. Negative 6 plus or minus 6 squared is 36 minus 4 is 32. So you can just put that part right in your calculator. If you go to your calculator and do 6 squared minus 4 times 1, you'll end up with 32, all divided by 2. We can leave it just like that. We could try to simplify a little bit if you want. You could try to simplify that square root. The square root of 32 is 4 times the square root of 2. Square root of 32 is square root of 16 times the square root of 2, and square root of 16 is 4. And then we divide every term by 2. So 3, 2, 1. So this ends up with negative 3 plus or minus 2 the square root of 2. So this gives me two solutions, negative 3 plus 2 the square root of 2, and negative 3 minus 2 square roots of 2. So when I solved it that time, I got two irrational solutions, meaning that they still had a square root in them. Here's another example, negative 5x squared plus 18x equals 9. And so I want to get everything on one side, 0 on the other. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And that gives me that a is negative 5, b is 18, and c is negative 9. So I get x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. So negative 18 plus or minus, put that number in your calculator. So let's go to our calculator and put that in. Not with the square root, just the 18 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times negative 9 gives me 144. So square root of 144, all divided by negative 10. So in your calculator, do square root of 144, and you get 12. So this gives me two answers. I get x equals negative 18 plus 12 divided by 10, or x is negative 18 minus 12 divided by negative 10. Remember, you do the addition or subtraction on the top, so negative 18 plus 12 is negative 6 divided by 10, which gives me 3/5, or negative 18 minus 12 is negative 30 divided by negative 10 gives me 3. So my solution set here is 3/5 or 3.